Every month, half the human population bleeds for days at a time. Everyone knows this. It's biology, it's normal. But here's the strange part. For over 300,000 years of human existence, there were no pads, no tampons, no pain relievers, no clean running water on demand. So how did women survive something that happens roughly 12 times a year, every year, for decades? And the answer may be much older and much stranger than most people think. Imagine you're a woman living 40,000 years ago. You're in a small group of maybe 20 people, moving across open grassland, following animal herds. There's no privacy, no walls, no bathrooms, just open sky, shared fires, and constant movement. Now imagine your period starts. There's no discreet trip to a drugstore. There's no hiding it. Not really. Everyone in a small group like this knows everyone else's body, everyone else's rhythms. The real question is, what did you actually do, physically, to get through the day? To understand that, we have to rethink something first. Modern women, on average, get their period around 450 times in a lifetime. But researchers who study hunter-gatherer societies today have found something surprising. Women in these groups menstruate far less often. Some estimates suggest as few as 50 times in a lifetime. That creates another mystery. How is that possible? The answer lies in a combination of things ancient women experienced that most modern women don't. Near constant pregnancy, years of breastfeeding, which suppresses ovulation, lower body fat from physical labor, and a regular food supply, which can delay or stop menstrual cycles entirely. In other words, the ancient female body may have spent far more of its life either pregnant, nursing, or simply not cycling at all. But that doesn't mean periods didn't happen, and when they did, ancient women needed something to manage them. This is where things get weird because we actually have physical evidence. Archaeologists have found traces of moss packed with absorbent materials in ancient burial and habitation sites, believed to have been used for menstrual care. Other evidence points to soft animal hides, folded and reused. In some regions, shredded bark, grass, or plant fibers were pressed into service. Imagine kneeling by a riverbank, washing a hide you'll use again next month. It wasn't disposable, it wasn't private in the way we think of privacy today. It was practical, and it was shared knowledge, passed from woman to woman. But researchers discovered something unexpected when they looked closer at ancient cultures around the world. Menstruation wasn't just a hygiene problem, it became a cultural turning point. In many early societies, the first period marked a girl's passage into womanhood, often celebrated, sometimes feared. Some cultures believed menstrual blood carried power, even danger. Women were separated during their cycle, not always out of punishment, but sometimes out of belief that they were, in some sense, temporarily untouchable, connected to forces others couldn't access. And this is where things get stranger still. Some anthropologists have proposed a controversial idea, sometimes called the menstrual synchrony hypothesis, suggesting that women living in close quarters might cycle in rhythm with one another. The science on this is far from settled, and many researchers now doubt it holds up. But the fact that the idea persisted for so long shows just how mysterious menstruation felt, even to modern scientists trying to explain it. So, if the biology was confusing, how did ancient women manage the pain? There was no ibuprofen, no heating pad plugged into a wall, but archaeological and ethnobotanical evidence suggests ancient people relied on the plants around them. Willow bark, which contains a compound related to modern aspirin, shows up again and again in ancient medicinal use. Warm stones, heated by fire and pressed against the body, may have eased cramping the same way a heating pad does today. None of this was written down. There were no textbooks. This was knowledge carried in memory, tested through generations of trial and error, and passed quietly from mother to daughter, woman to woman. But here's a question that lingers. If periods were so difficult to manage without modern tools, why didn't ancient societies simply avoid the topic, hide it, erase it from history? The strange part is, they didn't. Cave art and ancient carvings in several regions appear to depict menstruation symbolically. Sometimes through red ochre pigment, sometimes through specific markings believed to track lunar or biological cycles. Some researchers even argue that the earliest calendars weren't built to track seasons for farming at all. They were built by women, tracking their own cycles. That would mean one of humanity's first uses of written record keeping wasn't about crops or war or trade. It was about the body. Every time you glance at a calendar today, you're using a tool whose origins may trace back to something deeply personal, something ancient women needed to understand about themselves, long before agriculture, long before cities, long before writing. As we know it, the pads and tampons on store shelves today are new. The plastic applicators, the synthetic fibers, all of it is a blink in human history. But the moss, the hides, the willow bark, the warm stones, the quiet knowledge passed between women that goes back further than almost anything else we consider modern. The technology changed, the tools changed, but the experience, the discomfort, the resourcefulness, the quiet resilience, that hasn't changed at all. Somewhere, 40,000 years ago, a woman packed moss into a fold of hide, stood up, and kept walking with her group across the grassland, because there was no other option. And in a strange way, every month, that same ancient story is still being lived out, all over the world, whether anyone realizes it or not.